Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Honeycast, where we are thriving in menopause. And sometimes that is a process. Let me tell you, I have personally been going through it myself. Yes, I'm in menopause, and I've had some dental work done in the last month that has thrown my body for a loop. And I am trying to climb out of what it feels like a pit, but I know that I will get out, and I'm doing all the things, and I'm so grateful for all the resources that I have and all of the things that I have to help support my body during this season. In menopause and beyond, you might be feeling like things are happening to you. I'm just going to tell you a little bit of my story right now and how my brain would tell me that I'm falling apart. However, I know that's not the case. So, couple of things going on with me. Still trying to get my hormones optimized. I am working with a practitioner. I'm very glad to have one that knows what they're doing. My body just tends to be a little bit stubborn. So I am on bioidentical hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and I had to try several different ways of getting estrogen because my body was sensitive and I would have breakthrough bleeding. So we are still working all of that out. So my body isn't quite at the optimum where it would normally feel very energetic and feel positive and hopeful and good. I've kind of been in the middle of that, sort of up and down. And in that, playing pickleball, I have sprained a couple of areas. I've got some tendonitis. I had a knee issue. I hurt my knee playing pickleball. I was acting like I was 25 again. Ended up having a very minor surgery, which still working on my knee. All these things, it's like, oh my goodness. This kind of stuff was not happening in my 30s and early 40s. And a couple of things that I'm learning. First of all, this is not inevitable, but sometimes this is happening because of the lack of hormones. For instance, the joint pain and the shoulder issue, lack of estrogen, the lack of motivation sometimes, lack of testosterone, the not sleeping, the low level anxiety, lack of progesterone. So there are some hormonal factors going on here that definitely we need to work on. Besides the fact of, yes, I want to feel better. Hormone replacement therapy is safe and it is preventative. So I just want to say that there's so many not new, but in the last 10 years, studies that are coming out that really refute the myth that hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, causes cancer. It's just not true. Check out the book Estrogen Matters. There are many articles, science-based articles out there that are also sharing that news. So just with that being said, I am still in the middle of figuring things out. Then had a dental surgery with a tooth implant that kind of went awry. And so my body is really trying to get the energy that it needs to heal and to detox and whatnot. So, in the middle of all of that, I am still figuring stuff out, but I'm so thankful for the things that I've learned and the things that I'm going to be teaching you today about your hormones, about weight loss, about strength training, about lifestyle factors that all contribute to that hormone puzzle. So, this is going to be part one. And we're really talking about the hormone puzzle, diving into the role of hormones in midlife weight management. And definitely things are changing as far as body composition and fat storage. I have experienced that as well. In my perimenopause season, I gained about, 6 or 7 pounds. And I was doing nothing differently. I was still doing Trim Healthy. I probably was doing a little bit too much HIIT. I believe I was doing about 4 days of HIIT, 12 to 20 minutes at a time, which in menopause and over, that is too much high intensity training. It raises cortisol, which tells our body to store fat. And our body starts storing fat in different places because estrogen is not there telling it where to go. So more about that. Let's just go ahead and do the intro. I just wanted to get you guys caught up on where I am. And I'll do an extra podcast to tell you what I'm doing to rest and restore and to gently detox. And I'm so thankful for Trim Healthy products because the protein is the bomb right now. I can't wait to tell you how that's been helping me. But I'll do an extra podcast for that because today I want to welcome you to the Honeycast, where we are thriving through menopause. We are going to delve into the intricate world of midlife weight management, exploring the fascinating role hormones play in this journey. If you ever found yourself pondering over the mysterious changes in your body as you navigate midlife, like me, you're in the right place. Join us as we unravel the complexities of hormones and their impact on fat storage and metabolism during this transformative phase. In each of my podcasts, we will piece together the hormonal puzzle, hopefully shedding light on how subtle shifts in your body's chemical messengers can influence everything from the way you store fat to the efficiency of your metabolism. So whether you're experiencing unexpected weight gain or you're grappling with composition, body changes, or simply curious about the science behind it all, our casual and engaging time together will provide insights and relatable stories and practical tips. So grab your sipper or a cup of tea and let's start this journey together and figure out this hormone puzzle. So the first episode, or it's not really an episode, the first part of this, I'm going to leave you hanging a little bit, but I do think that you know some of the things to do already. I do believe that. So I just want to help you understand what's going on so that first of all, it takes out some of the frustration and it also gives you power. Knowledge is power. And when you have that power, you can start making different decisions. So let's talk about the weight gain during menopause, even perimenopause. And the reason this happens is because of declining hormones. That's the start of it. There are many, many factors that go into weight loss and weight gain and stubborn weight loss besides hormones. But it is a big playing factor, if that's such a word, playing factor. It is a big factor. So first of all, when estrogen, well, in perimenopause, our estrogen and progesterone and testosterone normally is all over the place. It's declining progesterone, declining testosterone, and estrogen is usually up and down, but it can be different for every woman. But basically, we're all over the place in perimenopause because things are starting to change. Once there is a significant decline in estrogen levels, in your estrogen level, this is where some of those pesky symptoms come into play because estrogen helps regulate metabolism and body fat distribution, and believe it or not, muscle building. We always think that testosterone is responsible for that, but estrogen is as well as energy. Who, like me, has experienced lower energy levels or downright exhaustion? A lot of that is low levels of estrogen. And is your life your workout? Do you need to slow down? That's a good question. So when that estrogen is declining, we tend to store fat, especially around the abdomen, because estrogen tells fat where to go. And when we have more estrogen, it causes fat to go in our womanly places, or kind of whatever shape you are. Depending on what shape you are, it will go in different areas of our body. However, when that estrogen is declined, we usually have more androgen hormones related in relation to estrogen, and that causes like the beer belly look or the muffin top, the fat that's distributed around our abdomen because we have more cortisol receptors there. And so when stress goes up and chronic stress goes up, we also have a pull from that for the fat cells to go to our abdomen. So if you're wondering why all of a sudden it's shifting, and I do remember this because I think I was getting ready for something and I put on a pair of jeans that I normally could wear, and I hadn't changed any on the scale at all. I could not button my pants. I was like, what is going on? And that was the beginning of the mid spread. You lose your waist. That's what estrogen, like bye-bye estrogen, we lose our womanly figure. Although there are some things that we can do for our body composition, strength training, which is fabulous. So we do have some power there, but this is just some of the shifts that are happening. And not only is it frustrating for us not to be able to wear our clothes or we don't like the way we look in the mirror, it is dangerous. The fat that is around our abdomen is usually visceral fat. Visceral fat is inflammatory and dangerous. We really want to avoid that. And we're going to talk about how to avoid that in our next podcast. The second hormone piece of the puzzle that is very intricately involved in weight management is insulin. Okay, insulin. I know you've heard of that. It is important for us to have proper levels of insulin. It's a very important hormone. But when it goes haywire, it's causing our body to store fat. So when I say haywire, I mean when we become insulin resistant, which happens partly because of declining estrogen, and a lot of what our dieting history has been in the past, our genetics and the way that we eat and move all play into that insulin resistance. We want insulin playing nicely on the playground. When insulin is not, it is called insulin resistance, and it means that your insulin is not working properly by getting all of the glucose, which is the sugar, out of our cells. And when that happens, what's left in those cells is stored as fat. Insulin is a fat storage hormone. So when we continually have spikes of insulin, like if you're snacking all day long, or if you're eating a high carbohydrate junky treat or food, it's going to spike that blood sugar, which is going to call insulin into the picture. And when insulin comes into the picture, if it's resistant, it's knocking on those cell walls, doors, trying to get that excess sugar out, but it can't. And so your body stores fat. So we really want to work on the insulin resistance. That is a hormone that we are looking at. The next one is cortisol. These two go hand in hand. Cortisol is important. It is our stress hormone, and it really does help us deal with stress. It helps us get out of tricky situations if we need to. It is necessary. But when we are in chronic stress or have chronic high cortisol levels, it is going to make our bodies go into fat storage, especially visceral fat around the abdomen, because that's where we have those cortisol receptors. Cortisol also influences our appetite, which can lead to either cravings for high calorie and sugary foods, or it can dampen our appetite sometimes, which will cause us not to eat enough calories, not to eat enough food, and then we slow down our metabolism and we store fat. So we really want those cortisol levels to be, acclimated, to be normal, to rise when they're supposed to, and to decline when they're supposed to. The other hormone, really, all of our hormones are contributing, but those are the main ones. Testosterone levels can also slow down weight loss when our testosterone is low. Basically, all of these hormones contribute to how well our metabolism is working. And so when these are in decline, our metabolism usually slows down. And when it slows down, our body requires fewer calories. And when our body requires fewer calories and we're giving it more calories, it's not just about calories in, calories out, but when we don't need as much and we need to, well, actually, we're having more calories, it is causing the weight gain. But the issue is not to stop giving your body more calories. The issue is to get our hormones harmonized, working together and for you. And one way you can do that besides hormone replacement therapy is to build muscle. That is your number one sponge of insulin, is to build muscle. And your number one way to increase, not necessarily scientifically true there, we don't increase our metabolism by building muscle, but we influence our metabolism by building muscle. So muscle is your key. It's your key, the thing that you really want to do that is going to help with your metabolism and help with all of these hormone fluctuations. Not the only thing, but the main thing as far as exercise. The other things that you can do are what you put in your mouth and how you move your body and how you sleep and how you deal with stress. And you also have genetic factors as well. So things that you can do. There's a list of them, and we are going to talk about that in part 2. So I want to go into some examples. If you are in midlife, menopause, and beyond, you might be familiar with some of these scenarios. And I've talked to lots of my clients, members of my groups and programs, lots of women. Anywhere I go, I'm always talking about hormones. As a matter of fact, I went to a birthday party the other night, and sat next to actually a friend that I hadn't seen in a while. And she had gained quite a bit of weight, and she'd had a baby. She's in her 40s, and she was just like, oh my gosh, I have gained 30 pounds over the last year because I had been sedentary because I had my baby and he was in ICU, and I had to do a lot of sitting, and I just ate whatever I wanted to, and I was eating late at night, and just, hormones and all the things. And we ended up talking for 30 minutes about all the things. And the good thing is she had already started moving in the right direction. And she started with this, and I'll share it with you because it's a great place to start. First of all, she started with her food. She was getting rid of the white sugar and the white flour and the alcohol. Those things are key. The second thing, she was just going to start getting on the treadmill every day and just a gentle walk for 30 minutes. And then she was going to hydrate. I'm telling you, I know that is going to get her started. And that can get you started too. If that's where you are, that's a great place to start. If you are already past that, there's some other things that we'll talk about. But you may hear yourself in these examples. So this is the midlife menopause example of what you might be experiencing. So is it the muffin top dilemma? You've been comfortably wearing your favorite jeans for years. This was my story. And then there's an unexpected muffin top spilling over the waistband. Yes, and I started wearing bigger banded, workout pants and whatnot so that that's not spilling over the side. And some of that is just here to stay, but some of it you can definitely do something about, and you want to. That visceral fat around our abdomen is dangerous, you guys. Think about what you need to do to nourish your body for that. And we're going to talk more about that. So that was me. The other scenario is you step on the scale and realize you gained a few pounds despite maintaining your usual trim healthy plan. I hear this a lot when I get on discovery calls. They're like, oh my gosh, I am doing the same thing that I used to do. I lost 30 pounds and now I've gained 10 of that back and I don't know what to do. I do a lot of coaching around this topic, especially with trim healthy mamas that were in their 30s and maybe early 40s when they started, and now they're moving into their 50s and mid 50s and 60s. It really does need to change. How about the other one? Suddenly found yourself reaching for sugary snacks and feeling fatigued more often than before. And a lot of times this is the hormonal fluctuations that are going on, particularly with cortisol and insulin. They influence our energy levels and our cravings, and they contribute to our eating changes because of those hormones. So we really want to regulate insulin and cortisol. There are different ways to regulate either one, but I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. The number one way that you can regulate insulin is to get enough protein throughout your day. 20 to 30 or more grams of protein at each meal and snack. And if you are working out, you definitely want to add more protein to feed those muscles. But that is a number one way of regulating insulin. But there are other ways as well. There are a list of ways that we'll talk about. Another scenario is that you are feeling more stressful, you're feeling more anxious, and so you end up indulging in less healthy food choices. And I did experience this, and I do have several of my clients that are really struggling with the food cravings. And I have this teaching on urges and cravings that I want to teach you guys. I'll have to do that one as an extra one as well. It's life-changing. It helped me break my sugar addiction. But this is really going on. It's a real thing. And it really is because of our hormones. And our hormones, when we don't have enough progesterone, we are anxious and we're not sleeping. And when our cortisol levels are high, we're stressed. And so we're looking for something to make us feel better. We're looking to buffer. We're looking to get out of an uncomfortable feeling. And there are ways to avoid that. And the number one way is to realize awareness. This food will not help me with my stress. It will actually make me more stressed. It will stress my blood sugar. It will stress my digestive system. It will stress my body. And learning, okay, I need to release this stress. I need to learn how to feel this uncomfortable feeling. Couple of things that I do: I journal, I deep breathe, I process, I pray, I meditate, I sit in the emotion for a little bit and then I let it pass. And I'm learning to be uncomfortable for a little bit. I'd set a timer. Let's be uncomfortable in this stress for 25 minutes and I'm going to reset. I'm becoming the queen of reset. One reason is because that's my intention right now: reset and restoration. When I get emotionally stressed or physically stressed or overwhelmed, I stop. I stop, and I've noticed I used to not stop. I used to roll into my family life or my whatever I'm doing, and I would be a really hard person to be around. I'd be negative and in a bad mood and not engaged. And I realized, okay, I need to reset when this is happening. That didn't happen in my early 40s and mid 40s and early 30s and late 30s. I had different type of emotional issues, but this is hormone related. When you don't have those hormones, you are sometimes in a state of that low level anxiety and overwhelm. And you've got to figure out, what does your body need? What do you need at that time? So I'm going to share with you, here are a few things that I do. I have been especially late in the afternoon when I'm done working and I'm shifting into mom mode and making dinner or whatever with our family. I will say, hey, everybody, I'm done working, but I'm going to take 30 minutes and I either get in my sauna. I love getting in my sauna. My infrared sauna is so amazing for so many reasons, but I feel engaged after that. I know it's helping with detox. It's helping with restoration. And I might even sit down and do some deep breathing for a few minutes. And then I'm reset. I'm not in that space of just overwhelm and running into the next thing without setting. It's like I'm going to reset when I feel that stressful, feeling come up. Something physical is very helpful for me. Sometimes I'll just sit down and journal. But whatever it is, you want to catch that before you get to that pinnacle place of so stressed that you just start grabbing food and you're putting food in, you're just shoveling food, into your mouth. So as you can see, there are a lot of pieces to the hormone puzzle. And I do believe that you can support your hormones, you can get them in the right place, working for you and not against you, but it is a process. And sometimes you'll take a couple steps forward and then maybe a few steps back. And sometimes you won't even get your breakthrough for 3 or 4 or 5 months, but then all of a sudden you get a breakthrough. The only thing that's keeping you from getting the results and the breakthrough that you need is you quitting. And so instead of thinking this is an all or nothing, or I've got to be perfect, or I must see results as quick as I get Amazon Prime, you want to invest in yourself and this process and realize it's a 1% increase. 1% increase in any of these areas that support your hormones are getting you closer to optimization. And that's what we want. Can I completely be optimized? I don't know, but I'm going to work for all of that. And so setting those habits, getting those habits set up in your life are key so that they become automatic. The things that I'm doing for my reset and restoration, which I'll talk about later, are actually probably going to become new habits. And I would have said to you, gosh, I don't have time for new habits. I'm already doing this, that, and the other. But there's different seasons. And in a restoration and reset and detox season, some of these things I'm not going to be doing every day because they really are special. But other things, like, guess what? Deep breathing. I am deep breathing 3 sets of 10. At the end of the 10th breath, I hold it for as long as I can. Then I start over and do that 3 times. I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to, of course, continue to do my sauna. Right now, I'm doing it 5 times a week, but I'll go back to 3 times a week. So there are times when more is needed. And I'm just glad that we have the resources to be able to invest in ourselves and also just take care of ourselves in our midlife and beyond season. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thanks so much for listening to me. I will see you next time.